Ultralight Backpacking and Survival Tips with Steve Gilman.
You know, a lot of ultralight backpackers get really uptight about having the highest tech clothing and everything, and I'm just not into buying expensive things because they're cool. There are times when you'll need some expensive gear, but when it comes to clothing, there's quite a bit that you can get that won't cost you a lot. You don't need to have a $45 wicking t-shirt to go out in the wilderness, for example. You can buy a t-shirt at Walmart like this one that's half polyester, half cotton. And if you get the cheapest ones, they're a few bucks. And it's better if you get the cheap ones because they're thin and they'll dry really fast if they get wet. And for pants, that's one thing you have to pay attention to, because jeans are fine if you're out in a desert environment like this on a day hike. But if you're going to be out there for a few days, if jeans get wet, they get you in trouble. They'll hold that water and they'll chill you to the bone. So you really do probably want to get some hiking pants, some of these brushed nylon kinds of materials. But you know, you can get just about any kind of brushed nylon, and you can buy it at a closeout sale or something, and you don't have to spend that much money for it. And as for the rest of the clothing, you know, there's an advantage to having specialized gloves, for example. I like my little polyester gloves because they weigh 1 ounce, and then I can put a mitten shell over that if I'm going out in colder weather. And shoes, you know, sometimes I'll buy shoes like these running shoes probably weigh about 13 ounces each. And they were a little bit pricey. I bought them on sale, of course, but you can get by with even cheap shoes if you're only going for a weekend. I just wouldn't take the cheap shoes on a longer trip because they will tend to come apart at the seams if you're out in the mountains for a week, for example. So there are a lot of different things you can do with clothing. I'm going to, in another episode sometime, show you how you can even make a hat out of an old sleeve of a thermal t-shirt, for example. And that's keeping it real cheap and real light, by the way. So basically, use what works for you for clothing. Just be aware of the qualities of the different things. Jeans are too heavy, they weigh too much, they hold too much moisture. So you need some decent pants, but otherwise cheap t-shirts are fine. And cheap gloves are even okay. And you can get by with raincoats that don't cost a fortune. And I'm going to cover that one in another episode as well. Here's a little trick for windy, cold days. Oftentimes, especially if you're hiking uphill a lot, you're going to be very hot, but you might be very hot in back and very cold in front because you're walking into a cold wind or even a little bit of a snow flurry blowing in your face. So one of the things you can do is take your jacket and instead of putting it on the usual way, put it on backwards. The jacket will block the wind more thoroughly than if the zipper were there, but it lets you leave your backside open so you won't get as sweaty with your pack on. Once your pack is on to hold it in place, this works pretty well actually. And you can just go hiking this way and you can be cool in back, and if the wind's blowing against your front, you'll stay nice and warm. So that's a little trick for using your jacket on a cold, windy day.
This is a really dry area, and I've hiked here probably 12 times before and never seen water in here, but if you follow the areas where water has run before, you will sometimes find a little seep. In this case, it must have rained a few days ago, and there's just a little bit of water seeping down through the rocks here. And as you can see, you could put your bottle underneath where it drips there and fill it up probably in about 20 minutes or less. And it looks like it's actually pretty clean water too. So that's one of the ways you find water.
You might just be an ultralight backpacker if you keep leaves by your toilet just so you can practice going without toilet paper when backpacking. Watch out for those rose leaves though.
Thank you for watching Ultralight Backpacking and Survival Tips with Steve Gilman. For more information, you can see the ultralightsite.com, the ultralightbackpackingsite.com, or buy the book Ultralight Backpacking Secrets, now available on Kindle and Nook.